Hey, welcome back. So in our previous video, we started making our circular menu application here. In this video, we're going to be making some optimizations to our React app before we move on and do anything else. To start, I want to add something to our application called normalize CSS. This is going to make sure our application renders the same in every single browser. I'm currently in Chrome. What I'm going to do is just control-click in the window and hit inspect. And you can see if we look at our body tag, we currently have a margin on it. If you look at the left edge as well as the top edge, you can see that orange margin. The normalized CSS style sheet that we're going to be downloading and adding is going to take that off. So let's go ahead and start doing that. What I'm going to do from here is I'm going to close Google Chrome. I have my terminal open, so I'm going to shut that down as well. And I'm going to come into my circular menu folder. What I'm going to do from here is go into part 2. I have a node modules folder in part 2, so I'm going to go ahead and move that to the trash. And now I'm going to duplicate part 2, duplicate, and just call this part 3. Part 3, oops, 3, perfect. Now we can go ahead and open that inside of Visual Studio Code. From here, I'm going to open my source folder and I'm going to come into index.js. Above, I'm going to import another new style sheet right above main.scss, and we're just going to call this normalize.css. Obviously, we have not installed that, so let's go ahead and install this in our project. I am just going to hide my Visual Studio Code window. I'm going to open my terminal. I'm going to type in cd followed by a space. And inside of my circular menu folder, I'm just going to go ahead and drag part 3 into the terminal, hit enter, and now we can say npm install normalize.css. Go ahead and wait for that to install. Might take a bit. Alright, that is done installing. Now we can proceed. I'm going to pop back over to Visual Studio Code and I am just going to say save. I am going to minimize my Visual Studio Code window again using hide, and back at the terminal we just want to run npm start. Wait for our local host to start up in our browser. And you can see everything is working as before. This time, if I go ahead and control click and I inspect my element and we go to the body tag, you can see we have a margin 0 applied to our body, and this is coming from our normalized CSS style sheet. That's how we know it's working. I'm going to go ahead and close that. I'm going to minimize this window, and I'm going to shut down my terminal just for now. Terminate that. And I'm going to close my Finder as well. In Visual Studio Code, I am going to come over to my app.js file. And what we want to do from here is break out this circular menu into its own component. I'm going to come over to my components folder and create another new file. I'm going to call this circular menu.js camel case. Oops, made a little mistake there. Wanted the first I to be lowercase. There we go. I'm going to create a new function inside of here, and we're just going to call this circular menu. Circular menu, perfect. And in here, we can just make a return statement followed by parentheses, and in here we want to paste our JSX. I'm just going to copy everything here inside of the circular menu div, come over and paste that inside. Now what we want to do is say export default circular menu so that we can have access to it in other files. Go ahead and save that. In my app.js file, I'm going to come up above and I'm going to say import circular menu from // circular menu. Go ahead and save. save. And below we can reference our circular menu component, circular menu, closing it off, and there we go. Just to make sure everything is working, I'm going to go ahead and say File, Save All. I am going to minimize my Visual Studio Code window. I'm going to come over to the terminal, type in CD followed by a space, and I am going to paste in my Part 3 folder once this opens here. Taking a while. There we go. Go ahead and paste that in. Perfect. I'm going to run npm start, and we should see what we saw before in our browser on our localhost. Still loading up there. And as you can see, we are getting exactly what we got before. Now that's not the only cleanup we want to make. We want to make a few more. I'm going to minimize that, come back over to Visual Studio Code, and resume cleaning things up. From here, I'm going to go back over to my circular menu file, and I am going to cut this array, just selecting the whole thing, Command X, and this is going to be a prop that we're going to pass into the circular menu component. I'm just going to destructure pages off of here, and instead of that array, we just want to say pages.map. Over back in our app.js file, I'm going to make a new prop on our circular menu component. I'm just going to say pages. Is that what we called it? Yes, pages. And I'm going to paste in this array. All right. If we go ahead and save everything, come back into our window and refresh the browser, everything should still be working. Now, the next thing we want to do is break out each individual div into their own component as well. From here, I'm going to go into my components folder, and I'm going to create another new file, and I'm going to call this circular menu item, circular menu item.js. Perfect. In here we can create another new function. Oops, circular, can't spell today, circular menu item. And in here we can just return some JSX as usual. Perfect. Coming back over to circular menu now, I'm going to cut this div and I am going to paste it over here. Obviously, we want to format this a little bit, so I am just going to tab this over, and clean this up. There we go. I'm going to move this over here, move this back, and there we go. That is formatted enough for now. The next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and cut this key prop off of our div, since we no longer need that in here. And I'm going to destructure a couple of new props for this circular menu item class. We want a color as well as a rotation. I'm going to come back over to my circular menu item file, and in here above I'm going to go ahead and import circular menu item from / circular menu item. Save. Below we can just return a circular menu item instance, so circular menu item, and we want to pass in the color, so color is going to be equal to color, and the rotation, we have the formula in the other file. Before I forget, we just want to paste the key prop back in here. So key rotation is 360 degrees divided by 8 multiplied by the index. So put that right in here. And instead of using 8, I want to say pages.length. .length. Perfect. Now if I come back over here, I'm just going to say rotation. And last thing we need to do is go ahead and export our circular menu item. So export default circular menu item. Great. I'm going to go ahead and file save everything. If we come back into our browser and I refresh, everything is still working just fine. With that, I am going to go ahead and say File, Save All. Come back over to Safari again, refresh one more time. Everything is still working, and I think that is a good stopping point for this video. I will see you in the next one. Stay tuned.